Three mere mortals discover their ability to create entire universes with their minds alone. Upon discovering their abilities, these three, gods if you will, join forces to create the Dark and Stormy Nights, a supercharged team of creatives with the aim of helping artists and writers around the world while combating the forces of boredom and mundanity. They are the Dark and Stormy Nights.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Dark and Stormy Nights. This is Loki.
And this is Tyr.
And today we are giving you another chapter. Do you remember? Was I right? Was this chapter 8?
Oh, I assumed you were right. I labeled it as chapter 8, so it's chapter 8 now.
I'm calling this one Revelations, and...
it was indeed a chapter 8.
Yeah? Okay, cool. I got it right for once. So, do you have anything to announce or anything, or do you want me to get started?
Nothing new.
All right. Forgive me. My eyes are a little bit blurry this morning, and I've got something in my throat. So we're going to try and pull this off without me choking on you. So, okay. I guess without further ado. The engine of the truck growls as Lee channels his angers through the monstrous vehicle. His face is in the angriest scowl Elliot has ever seen, but he dare not say anything. Elliot feared even an apology might set him off, though he still wasn't entirely sure what he had to apologize for. The tension was so thick that if it weren't broken soon, someone might suffocate. Finally, Jeb had had enough. Look, Lee, if you're still mad about me leaving the truck too close to the door with that cloak and thingy on, I take full responsibility. I'm guessing it left a mighty fine bruise on your leg and probably hurt a little, like the Dickens. That is all on me, and I can't apologize enough. You shouldn't be mad at the kid. Elliot had nothing to do with it. Lee's brow twisted from pure anger to the look you get when someone says something so stupid you become confused by how they even formulate thoughts. Jeb felt instantly demeaned and belittled by the look. Before Lee said a word. Lee turned his gaze back to the road and remained uncomfortably silent just long enough to restore the tension to its maximum discomfort level. Jeb shifted away from Lee in his seat. Whatever, man, Jeb spat out in disgust. Lee glared daggers out the corner of his eyes at Jeb as he boiled over. Okay, fine. You want it? Here it is. I ain't mad about you leaving the cloaked truck where you did. Was it stupid? Yup. It was asinine. But I'd gotten over that quickly. It was about the mountain of stupidity that led to the kid owing an open debt to Zana. What the fuck were you idiots thinking? This could be bad. Do you know what she is going to do to him? No, Jeb blurted out. And neither do you. Come on, Jeb. You know how bad this can be for the kid. She could own his soul. A pit formed in Elliot's throat as it began to set in that he could be in real trouble. She's your friend, ain't she? Jeb stated, more than asked. Yes, Lee stated, matter-of-factly. And you have now strained that relationship. She has won over on me now. Not just Elliot. We are no longer on equal footing. I cannot go to her eye to eye ever again. Thank you for that. Lee, you are a dead man without her help. Does this fact escape you? No, it doesn't. Thank you for trading one life for another. But now Elliot may pay the price, or worse. Both of us pay the price for this decision. Me and you both know that bargaining with the Fae is a stupid idea, and you let him do it anyways. Elliot sat quietly in the back seat, eyes drifting back and forth from one man to the other as they argued. It angered him that he was being spoken of as though he wasn't there. Both men intimidated him deeply. He shook as he held back the anger and anxiety. I didn't let Elliot do anything. He is his own man. I had no idea that you never taught him anything. Oh, so this is my fault, Lee barked in appall. Well, Jeb paused. Yeah. Lee felt quiet a moment before reaching over to turn on the radio. Too Late to Apologize by One Republic was playing. Lee frantically changed the channel, finding Blame by Calvin Harris playing on the next channel, only to finally turn off the radio and roll down the windows. Jeb stared at the radio and then over at Lee. You know that ain't normal, right? Yep, is all Lee could bring himself to say. Luckily for everyone involved, they had arrived at the Huntsman Motel. Lee could not recall ever being happy to see this place before. As he parked the large truck, he ran the tires up on the parking bumper, causing the truck to lurch, and everyone inside the truck to launch out of their seats and hit their heads on the ceiling of the truck. Motherfucker, Lee grunted out through pursed lips, cutting off his own words and attempting to recapture his composure. Jeb braced himself and Elliot, rubbed his head in pain. Lee threw himself out of the truck and marched for the lobby door of the motel. Jeb and Elliot were not in so much of a hurry to reacquire Lee's company. Sorry, my page keeps jumping. Lee threw open the door to the gritty motel to discover a lobby full of hunters he had just fought side by side with. The arguing was so intense and loud that Lee could hardly make it out as anything more than white noise. The volume and chaos threw Lee off guard. He took a minute to get his wits about him, and with every ounce of rage he had built up, he let out a roar. "Get out! The bounty is not done," he yelled at the top of his lungs. The room fell silent for a moment. "What are you talking about, old man?" Rick said in defiant dismissal. The children were the weapons, not the mark. Something was controlling them from the surf, Lee says, as he shoves his way to the front of the crowd where Raina is hunched over the counter at Nigel. "The job is not finished," Lee announces in a cocky manner. Nigel stares past Raina at Lee a moment, unpacking this new information. His I don't know why I said it this way. His black stare trails over to the room filled with every blank. That's what I meant. Haha. His blank stare trails over to the room filled with every hunter left alive in his employ. In a moment of clarity, life and urgency return to him, and he shouts at the crowd with shock in his voice. "What are you buffoons waiting for? Get back out there and kill this fucking beast. And don't come back until you have its head." Some of the hunters chattered and mill about confused while others filter out of the lobby. Nigel, frustrated, barks at the stragglers. "Go!" which causes the rest to scramble out of the room, all but Raina. Nigel turns to her with a scowl that expresses his growing anger. "What are you waiting for?" Nigel demands in a hardened whisper. "Oh, I'm not going anywhere," Raina speaks in a quiet confidence. "Lee has some explaining to do, and I'm here to wait for it." "I don't know you shit, lady. Get bent and get lost. I need to talk to Nigel, Bobby Ray. I ain't going anywhere till I get an explanation." "Oh, come on. You saw that thing in the surf, too. The black beast waving its hands about, puppeting those things. It ain't done. What do you know that you ain't saying here?" Lee. "I know about what you know. I'm not buying your deception today, old man." Lee scowls at Raina. His gritting teeth are almost audible. Raina stands her ground, staring Lee down with a smirk on her face. "Come on, Lee. I know you know more than you are letting on." "What do you know, old man?" "Can't help you, Raina. All I know is what we saw, a black twisted figure in the surf. You're going to have to do your own research like the rest of us." "I'm watching you, old man." Lee's phone buzzes in his pocket. "It's Gary. Code red in the parking lot. Dog boys, better make scarce." "We got issues," Lee announced. "We're going to have to cut this short. We have a situation in the lot." Nigel looks over at a security monitor. Sure enough, a gang of bikers and a bunch of the hunters are facing off. "Shit, this isn't good," Nigel announces. "I only have like half of you left." Lee shot Nigel an unappreciative look. I gotta get rid of these guys already. What are you telling us, Lee? Are these things here for you? Raina inquired in confusion. Lee looked at Nigel as he spoke. One of their brothers was a bounty, wreaking havoc without a charm. Yeah, well, you know you can bring him in alive now and then, Nigel said with a snark. It ain't my fault if Puppo chased his ball into traffic. Anyway, this has officially become bad for everyone, Nigel. I need you to go out there and distract them while I run across the street. You want me to distract them while you run over to the titty bar? I think not. Calm down. It's part of the plan to get rid of them. But I need you to send Elliot over, too. I'll sneak out the back and across the tree by the tree line. Tell Elliot to meet me over there. This better work, Lee. I'm not prepared to fight a pack of rabid dogs myself. Trust me, I'll get it done. Just keep distracting them. Nigel straightened the ratty robes he wore, took a deep breath, and gathered his composure before walking out the lobby. Raina followed shortly behind. Lee walked down the hall to the LED that led to the back exit where RVs often parked. At the edge of the lot was a wooded area with a creek of water runoff from the local roads. Lee crept just beyond the trees and snuck to the road. He could hear Nigel lecturing the bikers loudly. As boring as it sounded, he'd have to work fast. He ran across the street and into the old strip club as fast as he could without drawing attention to himself. All right, I'm going to split it there.
Okay.
Because I am dry. All right. Any comments?
No, not so far. I think it's pretty, on with what we plotted out. So, I think it's fine. I got a little confused with the back and forth between Lee and Raina, like as far as who was talking. So, is she the one who's pointing out the figure on the water?
No, he is.
He pointed out, and he said, "I know you saw it."
Right.
Okay. So
yeah, she wants to know what it is.
So things are definitely coming to a head between them, and they're no longer friends for sure. You're bringing up the suspicion between them more, and he's no longer faking it. That's where we're at.
Well, no, I didn't feel like he was trying to act suspicious of her, but in this case,
no, I'm not saying that.
More
I'm saying
that she is.
He's acting like they're no longer friends.
He's not sharing information. I don't think he ever shared information with Raina. He doesn't share.
It doesn't matter. They had an amicable relationship, and I'm asking.
Right, and she's asking.
Are you ending that?
Not necessarily. No, he's saying that he doesn't know what it is.
Okay.
And she is insisting he does or whatever.
So she's trying to get information out of him, and he's not budging.
Right, and I don't think he ever would have. That's not who
No,
Lee
that's
is.
fine. I don't know that she would have asked previously.
But previously wasn't the same person.
Exactly. Yes, I get that. I'm just asking if you're ending their friendship here. If that's what this is supposed to be. The goal is.
The friendship.
Okay.
I felt this was.
I mean, their friendship's already gone because she's dead. But
right.
but
yeah, no,
I'm asking for the sake of carrying on their relationship in the future. Are they at odds now?
No. I felt this was a rivalry kind of thing, just like any hunter.
Okay.
She wants information she thinks he has.
Right.
And he wouldn't give it up even if he had it, no matter who she was.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
no, I wouldn't expect him to.
Right. So, yeah, I didn't feel this raised any extra suspicion, you know. But if he did let on, her, say, exploiting their relationship for that information, if he did let on, she'd know for sure he knew what was going on. And that's what she's... Okay,
so maybe when we go back and do rewrites before we publish the book, we'll just add in a little bit of, internal thought for him. Maybe a little bit of, he's still feeling a little bit of that suspicion left over from his paranoid delusions while he was out of it. Yeah. And maybe something along the lines of, not that he would have ever shared information with her before, something like that to kind of smooth it back over.
I assume that the reader could kind of get it, but,
Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of confusing to me, the back and forth a little bit.
My dialogue might have been a little short on description.
It's not just that, it's that... there's no tags, so I kind of got confused on who was talking.
See, I was told don't overuse tags. And
you're not supposed to overuse tags, but I know it's going to be subjective to every reader.
Right.
Some of them prefer the tags, some of them Don't want to see any tags. I don't know how the fuck people who use no tags keep straight who's talking.
I've stopped reading books because the conversation was hard to follow.
So have I, because there was like 5 people talking and no tags, and I'm like,
yeah, who's saying what?
How do you know who's talking here? Like, if I can't follow the story, why am I wasting time?
No, and I've
reading
heard
the
a
book?
ton of editors say stop using tags, and I'm like, but I don't know who's talking then.
Yeah, you need to be able to know who's talking, and that's fine. If you don't want to use like he said, she said, blah blah blah.
But I've given them all their own individual voices. Yeah, in those short sentences, I can't tell whose voice is what.
That's the thing. It's like normally if the book has gone on long enough, and I've picked up on a tone, and the author's done a good job writing the tone, that's fine. But like there was, I think I've only stopped reading like 1 or 2 books because of this actual issue, and it was first thing in the beginning of the story, like. You don't know the character's tone yet.
Right,
it's
right.
first thing, and they're just not putting tags. And it was at a party, and there's like 5 or 6 people talking, and I'm like, who is saying what? How is anybody keeping this straight?
Not to mention, I feel like nobody talks without expression or what have you. You know, and I like to slip a lot of expression, and not a lot, but enough.
Yeah,
expression
and that's the thing is you don't need the tags. You could have some kind of reaction or some sort of he glared or narrowed her eyes, and you did have that in here a couple of times. It was just when the dialogue kept going on that I got a little confused.
Yeah. Okay. Is that it?
Yeah, that was it. I was just kind of wanting to see where their relationship is at here.
Okay. Let's take a short break, and we'll be back to finish the second half.
Sounds good.
Why my drippings will go?
Because you were listening to the Dark and Stormy Nights podcast on iTunes, Google Play Music, or Podbean.
Okay, so we're back with the second half of the story, and I'm a little less dry now, so hopefully I can get through this whole thing before I become a raisin. I don't know what's going on today, man. Anyways, all right, I guess we'll get to it.
Okay.
A dancer peering through the window at all the commotion. Lee thought her name was Lena or something like that. Asked him why he was sneaking. I wouldn't want people to know I come here, Lee returned. The sour response on the girl's face was exactly what Lee was hoping for. He enjoyed it all the way into the back room, where he immediately started scanning for Ren. He locked eyes with her, but she was busy dancing for a client. Lee nodded to her. She made the most subtle of gestures in return, and then Lee walked over and sat at the bar and sipped a drink that was waiting for him as he watched Ren dance. There were times when he found himself absolutely mesmerized by the pixie, but he was far too concerned at the moment to enjoy her like he wished he could today. Lee looked down at his watch. Where's the kid, he thought. Lee didn't want to risk getting caught looking for him. The song ended, and Lee watched Ren get up and gather her clothes. Ren's patron grabbed her by the arm aggressively. Lee knew she was not okay with this, but as he got up to help, she looked at him and shook her head. The man, a dark-skinned man with a gray beard in an expensive suit, turned his head to look at who she was signaling and locked all 3 of his eyes with Lee as he did. The creature drew a smirk across his face and started to rise from his seat. The thing stood about 5 feet tall. Napoleon complex, Lee thought. Lee sat back down. The large bouncer that barred passage to the room started eyeing the situation and looked to Lee. Lee shot the bouncer a look and shrugged. The bouncer turned on his stool and crossed his arms and watched. The creature walked towards Lee slowly while rambling in a language Lee did not understand. I'm going to save you some time, buddy. I don't speak Quaggle, so I have no idea what you are saying. Why don't you tip the nice lady real well and be on your way? The creature began to ramble more aggressively at Lee, now pointing one of his long clawed fingers at him. Lee chuckled. Look, buddy, I would tell you that I don't want to hurt you, but that would be a lie. And everybody here knows it. Let's just say, don't give me an excuse to hurt you. Lee watched as Elliot and Gary pushed through the beaded curtain, but turned his attention back to the encounter at hand. The Quaggle continued to slowly approach Lee while babbling in its language at him. Lee turned and took a sip of his drink. The creature got right up next to Lee and then put his finger in Lee's chest. In one smooth motion, Lee grabbed the creature by the side of his head and slammed it into the bar. The creature crumbled to the ground. With a with a grunt and a sigh, the large bouncer pushed himself up from the stool and came to collect the unconscious creature. He grabbed the creature by one expensive shoe and began to drag it out when Lee stopped him. "Hey, out the back, not the front. We have some heat out there, and we all want to avoid it." The bouncer nodded and dragged the beast out the back, leaving its limp body by the dumpster before returning to his spot. Lee looked back to Ren, expecting her to be mad. She was, but it wasn't as bad as he feared. She looked more disappointed than anything. "Lee, you gotta stop hurting all my clients. How do you expect me to make any money?" "I tried, babe, honest. I wasn't gonna hurt the little guy, but he insisted." "I know, but you gotta stop, okay?" "Promise, babe. Hey, listen, I need your help." "What did you get into this time?" Lee brought the conversation into earshot of Gary and Elliot. "We got a pack of werewolves on our asses we need to get rid of till I can focus on dealing with them. You got any charms or anything we can use?" "Yeah, I can whip up something. I'll need a sock from each of you." Elliot gave Lee a look. "Just do it, kid." Both men took off a shoe and then removed the sock, handing them to Ren. "Anything else I should know before I get started?" "Yeah, I need some information on this dark, twisted, possibly dead thing I've been hunting. Any ideas?" "Penny might have some ideas. She's a succubus. She might be able to tell you if your mark is demon or undead. I'll go back and prepare the spell and send her out." "Perfect. Thanks, babe." Ren gathers the socks and a bottle of rum from behind the bar and heads backstage. Gary seizes Lee's arm tight. "Are you crazy? Penny is bad news." Lee just stares at Gary's hand gripping his arm. Gary releases his arm. "Sorry, it's just," Gary begins but freezes, his words in his throat. Lee looks puzzled a moment and then trails his gaze to a beautiful, fair-skinned, raven-haired woman that approaches them. "Breathe, Gary," Elliot reminds. Gary takes a gasping breath. "Hi, I'm Penny," the succubus states in an oddly bubbly voice. "Ren said you needed help." "Do you know much of the world of demons and the undead?" Lee inquires. "Yup, the infernal plane is my home. I know all about it. Let me have a look at what it is that's troubling you." "Well, we don't have a picture or anything." "That's okay. Just try to remember it real good, and I will read your memories." "Don't do it, Lee," Gary blurts out. Elliot elbows him in the ribs. Lee smirks. "I'll make a hunter out of you yet," Lee smiles to Elliot. Elliot basks in the compliment. "Okay, so how do I do this?" Lee asks Penny. "Just recall an encounter where you got a good look." Lee thinks hard. He closes his eyes and focuses. "Tell me what is happening, Lee." "I'm hurt. Something bit me, and I'm trudging through the sand toward it. I'm starting to see something. I drag my heavy body into the crashing surf." "It's in front of you, right?" "Right. It's waving its arms about. What is it saying?" "I don't know," Lee grimaces as though he can feel the pain. "Shh, it's not real. It's just a memory. It's chanting something." Shit, he vanished. "I couldn't catch him." "I know, Lee, it's okay. I think I know what it is." "What is it?" Lee opens his eyes to see Penny's eyes glowing. It is a death demon known as a Bodak. It deals in nightmares and horrors, but many know magic and can control the undead. "Well, how do we find it?" Lee asks. Penny turns up the volume on the TV behind the bar. A news story talks about a disturbance at the Ohio Reformatory. The reporter interviews people speaking of seeing a lady ghost. As one interview puts it, Lee rolls his eyes. "Sorry to interrupt," Ren startles everyone out of the moment. "The charm is done." She holds out a baggie with the 2 socks in it. They seem to be coated in a tar-like substance. "You need to stick this to a truck leaving town." The first varger will follow. The frist varger will follow. Elliot and Lee look to Gary. Gary looks back and forth between the two of them. Oh, come on, guys. Why me? Gary, we are the ones they are after. Besides, it's no big deal. Just stick it to a passing truck and get back in here. Easy for you to say. Gary's shoulders soften and slump as he walks toward the front door, with Elliot and Lee behind him. Just before passing through the beaded curtain, Lee turns back. Oh, Penny, I almost forgot. How do we kill it? That's all.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I felt my conversation started flattening out in the end there, and we'll have to work on it a little bit.
Yeah, I think that it is mostly fine. I kind of want to go back to the part where you were. I feel like maybe we should expand on the news thing a little. Do you think we should
Maybe. What do you
fatten that up a little?
do? I want more information, or do you want to like actually listen to one of the interviews?
No, just, I mean, yeah, maybe we could put a little bit of like the news report itself in there, but I think that for a foreshadowing moment, just something
little less brief.
a little, yeah, just a little bit more to grab the reader's attention to be like, wait a minute, why is this here? You know?
Do we want maybe after Lee rolls his eyes or whatever, it shows the ghost like on the screen, or
Maybe instead of her turning up why would she turn up the volume?
so you could hear the report,
I know, but why? When she's in the middle of talking of something else.
because it gives away what they're talking about.
Yeah, my thought is maybe like Lee goes to answer her and his eyes snag on the screen, you know, or that kind of thing.
Maybe.
And he gets caught up in what the reporter's saying for a second. And like
Okay.
that is like the lead in to hear a little bit about the story.
Okay. I'm not against it.
Something like that. I don't know. Just like a little bit, just a pinch more, you know? Like it doesn't have to be a lot more, just enough so that it just felt very brief when you read it out loud.
Sure.
But like when I read it here, it's a couple of sentences. So I mean, maybe not. But like when you were reading it out loud, it felt
Right.
very brushed over.
Well, and one of the hard things is understanding how like entropy works. You know, like entropy magic and stuff like that,
Right.
where everything is related. Coincidence isn't coincidence; it's magic.
Right.
You know, so the fact that they're doing this now and the news reports happening now is all part of the world of coincidence magic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which a lot of people don't really, I guess, understand, because most magic seems very forward. It's a fireball.
It's very purposeful.
right, but in the world of entropy, coincidences are the magic.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
Which is like, how do you explain that? You know, oh, it's a coincidence. Yeah, okay.
Right. Exactly. No, but I liked it. It was good. I mean, it was very much what we discussed and in the plotting and everything. I just, that little bit that leads us into the next chapters, I think could maybe just be a little bit like a pinch more.
Yeah,
Obvious.
I'm not sure I led us into the next chapter so great either, but you know, I think we can work with it, right?
Yeah, I definitely think that we can. And honestly, I don't even know what more we really want to reveal here about the reformatory. Because
Right.
that's really your lead up, you know?
Right.
And then did we discuss that we don't want her to know how to kill it? We did say that, right?
I didn't.
He ends
I
with
wasn't-
asking,
Yeah.
but we didn't think that she would know. And that way he can try like shooting it and stuff and it won't work. Or we said that maybe she had some like, well, rumor is that this will do it or that'll do it, and they try things and it doesn't work.
Right. Well, and I thought also her not answering him in the beginning of the next chapter or when they encounter it, you can always be like, well, she said this might work, you know, and then that's where I suggested a shotgun full of sea salt,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, we can try
or
different things.
yeah, a
Elliot
squirt
trying
gun,
to like sage it or something.
squirt gun full of holy water.
Right.
And it's like, oh, that's all bullshit, man. Holy water
Like
doesn't work.
Elliot busts or Lee busts out a shotgun. Elliot pulls out a super soaker. It's like basically, yeah.
Right, yeah,
No,
they
that
try
ain't gonna do
They try
anything.
to smudge. They do a
Yeah, that's what I'm
smudge
saying.
and-
Like a
yeah.
sage stick. What are you doing? Is that a crystal? that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Gary's like, yeah, none of that works. Ground up frog paste.
Right.
I'm not doing that.
Elliot's trying all the non-violent ways, and none of it works. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was really good. I just think that a little bit more there will lead up into the next chapters.
Yeah, I don't know. It felt like a filler chapter to me to connect dots. You know, like it needed to be there. Otherwise, you're like, how do we get somewhere else? You know,
Right.
But it wasn't. I don't know. I'm much better with the fight chapters and.
Yeah, it wasn't action heavy. I mean, what you could do is maybe have a little bit more of Nigel interacting with the wolves if you really wanted more action in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that it's necessarily required. What you did with it is fine.
And for the most part, we've been following the guys,
Right.
So.
Yeah, so I mean, it didn't really need a shit ton of action just because it was an informational chapter.
Right.
So, yeah, I know you like those fight scenes. I hate them, to be honest. But I think it's fine. I think it accomplished everything that it needed to accomplish. And like I said, my only thought is just
Maybe we beef up the info.
Yeah, just the lead into the next chapter. Because really, his conversation with the girl needs to happen. It's just that one little section that's going to follow through into the next chapters.
Sure.
So.
Okay.
Otherwise, it was good. I liked it.
Any announcements?
I don't really have anything new going on, no.
Okay. Don't forget to check us out at r/Dark and Stormy Nights on Reddit, or at the Dark Stormy K1 on Twitter, or you can follow Tier at Nova Drake Writer on Twitter. So go check those things out. We've also got a YouTube page. I've got playlists of all of our shows up now. So season 1 and season 2 are separated.
Cool.
So you can just listen to one or the other. You can also find us on Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, a whole bunch of places. So go check it out. Tell your friends, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.